Welcome everybody back to another episode of High and Tight. I am Jason Burton, Virginia DC Scouting Director. Joining me as always, Jordan Jones, Assistant Scouting Director. Jordan, I know we've had some off-air, a little bit of fire this morning, but how are we feeling? I got to pass the torch to Jordan for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, we're good. Rank is time, one of the better times of the year, you could say. But just continue to work through these, our evaluation of players in the state. Just keep on rolling like that.
All right, today we are here to talk about the 2028 rankings update. This is Tuesday, and we will be airing these on I think Thursday night, right, Jordan?
Yeah,
we'll be
Thursday.
airing this one Thursday night. Before we get into any of that, I wanted to talk briefly about winter events. We talked pretty in depth on the events on the 2029 pod. As you can see, scrolling on the bottom there, those are dates that are for February. Sorry, I am completely out of it. It got me a little fired up today. But those are our dates. I'm going to share, Jordan, I'm going to share this screen right here so people can see. We get text messages and emails. Hey, how can I find y'all's events? We want to come to an event. Pretty simple. PrepBaseballReport.com/Virginia /showcases. Every event in there, the ones that say VA, not the one that says Super 60. The RVA preseason ID, freshman free, Nova ID. We have an ID and freshman for 2 straight weekends, I guess. And then we have one on President's Day down in Norfolk. And then we have some Rising Stars events, and we have preseason all states. We have events essentially for every single grad class. And that is 2026 through 2031. Yes, you heard it here first. I said 2031. But we have a few Rising Stars events for those guys. Jordan, instead of like really going in depth on those events, people can go to the website. They can see it. We had the little promo running at the beginning with the locations and all that stuff. Give some, maybe some reasons why you would say somebody should come to a winter prep baseball Virginia DC event.
Yeah, for these winter events for us, it's giving us a good direction as we head into the high school season of where we need to go, who we need to see. So showing your gains that you made in the off season to give us an idea as we continue to map out where we're going. As our man Mike, he always asks us, "Hey, where y'all going? Where y'all going? Beginning of the year?" Like, we have no idea. We're not even thinking about that yet. But this kind of gives us an idea of, okay, what area I need to hit first, who I need to go see. It gives us a good identifier as we, get closer to that time where we map out where we need to go, who we need to see. But just continue to get your foot in the door. Continue the evaluation piece where you were in the fall, summer, into where you're heading, where you're going to be in the winter. That gives us a good spot, gives you a good spot to get some new updated numbers and things like that. But it's a good place for us to continue to evaluate and make preparations for the spring.
Yeah, this is what I sent out to a fair number of players this past week. Jordan and I both have been sending this out. We get this question all the time, like, why should I come to an event? When is the right time to come to an event? Different people have different answers for that, right? Like, you talk to some parents and some people who say, hey, like, we want to see our players' progression. And we want to see like where they are versus their classmates, versus other players in the country, et cetera. And we want to see how they develop and how they progress. And then you get some people that say, hey, like, I'm not doing showcases until I'm a junior. I think that's a bad idea, but if that's your approach, have at it. And then you have some people saying like, hey, game showcases until I'm ready. Okay. When is ready. Like I understand like metrically and physically and all that stuff. Um, but we'll also talk to a lot of people who say like, man, they were so nervous. This was their first event, this, that, and the player's 16 or 17 years old. Now they have some time to get acclimated to that, but you don't want that first day that you're getting acclimated and getting comfortable is when, is the video you're sending out to coaches or is the time where you're in front of coaches. So there's different reasons that people come to an event. Before the season, a couple things for me is if you're 26, 27, you're in a live recruiting period and, you're actively being recruited or you're trying to put some stuff out there to schools. It's a great time to get updated video and updated metrics to send to schools prior to your high school season. All players from all grad classes can show off their off-season gains that they've made in the development over the winter. You talk to parents and players. Yeah, I'm hitting the weights hard and I'm, player development. I'm in the cage and I'm in my throwing program and all that stuff. Like show those gains, not just for us, but kind of on that same note is when coaches have very limited time to go out in the spring. Okay. And when they go out, like they want to know they're not just going out in the blind. You hear it on podcasts that Shooter does with coaches and stuff like that. Like they have an idea of where they're going. They have narrowed their focus down. Well, how do they narrow that focus down and how do they know where they're going? Well, I'm not saying just us, but the way that they see that is through video, through social media, through metrics, through guys who jump, stuff like that. Well, maybe we see a player that makes a jump in the preseason and we highlight that from the event, post-event, whatever. And I can tell you, like Jordan will be the first person to tell you that if we see a kid that makes a big jump in the winter, from the fall or from the summer, he's going to be one of the first people we go out and see that spring. Like those guys, especially for those 27s and 28s and stuff like that, those are going to be the guys that we go out and go see early on in order to kind of get some of that information out there to schools. That's the purpose, right? That's what we're here for. And that's what we go out to high school games for. We get calls countless times over the spring. Hey, I got today off or I'm not going to practice today from a college coach. Where do I need to be tonight? What games are going on? I'm going to be in Nova or I'm going to be in the beach or whatever. Where do I need to be at? They'll call and they'll ask. They'll text and they'll ask. And we'll say, hey, X, Y, and Z has made a big jump. They look really good. I know you're looking for, this position in this class where you're trying to get a better feel on this class as a whole. Like you need to go here and see this kid. All right, cool. I'm going. Like it happens. And so like, that's a huge reason. Identifiers for national and regional events. There's countless numbers of reasons. It's not just, I tell this to people all the time, don't just show up to show up, right? Have a purpose for what you're trying to do. And it should be personal, right? It should be about you. That is that time that is about you, that hour, 2, 3, whatever it is that you're there at the event. Like that time is about you and showing what you can do in between the lines. So as always, if you have questions, reach out, shoot us an email, Jordan Jones at prepbaseball.com, Burton at prepbaseball.com, shoot us an email, DM us on social media. Okay. Those are the accounts right there on X or Instagram, I think is also Prep Baseball VA. But shoot us a message. We'll get back to you. And we'll let you know what we think and we'll tell you, kind of how we can help. But without further ado, Jordan, we're going to get into the 2028 rankings here, 2028 rankings update. I'm going to go through the top 10, then I'm going to hand the reins over to you. Before we do that, I did the exact same thing on the 2029 one. Just a shout out and a plug for the VBCA coaching convention. This will be running in the middle of the clinic. Jordan and I will both be there talking to high school coaches. hopefully everybody has the right schedule and knows where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. But we'll be at the VBCA, and we'll be pushing out some content from that. So if you're there, come over, see us, talk. Maybe we can get you into a scrimmage or something like that, because apparently we have some open spots. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. 2028 rankings, Jordan, top 10. Number 1, Josh Gunning remains in the number 1 spot. Number 2, Trent O'Malley also remains in the top 7 are unchanged, it looks like. Number 3, Harley Metella, Cape Henry Collegiate. Number 4, Tyler Caperton, Eastern View. Number 5, Elijah Archer, Highland Springs High School. Number 6, Tyler Howard, Spotswood. Number 7, Gibson Beck, St. Christopher School. Number 8, Ryan Gaines, Highland School. Number 9, Grant Capel, Matorka. And number 10, Jack Guerin, St. Albans. Jordan, I'm gonna hand the reins over to you for a minute and kind of take a step back and take us where you want us to go.
Yeah, like in this top 10, a lot of it stays the same, but we do have a new face inside that top 10, and that is Ryan Gaines from Highland. He's showed and made some jumps throughout the fall. The fastball has crept to the low 90s, sits in the mid upper 80s. You just look at that frame. Is there some more room to add strength? He's confident in landing the breaking ball, but just the velocity increase and just his ability to create, continue to get outs and mix secondary pitches was a big move for him inside that top 10. So looking forward to getting out to Highland this spring, see what he can do on the mound, as he got some time, a little bit of time last spring for them. Another guy that made a move, Hudson Large. He has made a big move. He's into the 15 spot now, from Aberdeen High School. He made a big impression at the Mid-Atlantic State Games this fall. His ability to impact the baseball for extra bases and then hop on the mound and just get out. You talk about a guy that works with a quick pace and just wants to attack hitters with multiple pitches. This is your guy. So I was just excited to see him and, see what he can do for Aberdeen this spring as well. And another guy, Dylan Eberts, he's a guy that
Jordan, before we move on, I do want to note something here. It's like spotting, a grizzly bear or polar bear or the abominable snowman. We do have video of the big cat over here on the left-hand side, the great one, the goat. So we do have video evidence of him being in attendance, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But Jordan, go ahead with Eberts.
Yeah, this is a guy that I saw last spring for Powhatan in a brief outing, and it was definitely something there that I really liked and just continue to follow him, and he's made some gains as well. I really like the way that he moves on the mound. He competes. It's a long, wiry frame that still has some room to add strength. The fastball has gotten up to 86, 85, 86, but his ability to spin the breaking ball, get some misses in the zone with that breaking ball, is really a separator for him right now. I'm excited to see what he does this winter as he gets stronger, and I would not be surprised to see another velocity jump, just with the way that he moves and his ability to spin the breaking ball is pretty exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I think we saw him at the Vols Scout Day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We talked about him, and I don't want to say the stuff was light, but it was under control. He looked like he had some pitchability in there just with the way he moved and the way he handled himself. I did not see him last spring like Jordan said he did. And so the Scout Day was my first time seeing him. And when he requested for state games, was no doubt, absolutely. And I was over there for his first inning of work on the mound at state games, and it was pretty freaking good. Like you said, like stuff wise, it's not light and it's not like big velocity, like really showy, but it's a good combination of both to where like it's the velo's kind of like fringy right now in like the mid 80s. And I say fringy like as far as being like a really, really top end guy, but the biggest thing that stands out probably about Dylan that I took away is how he moves on the mound and his pitchability and just kind of his demeanor. Those are some things that jumped out to me with him, and really impressed. I didn't see his second inning. I saw his first inning. His first inning was really good. I think he came up to hit the next inning and hit a bolt in like that next half of an inning, I believe. So really like some of the stuff there on the mound for him. Large was just kind of doubling back on these guys that you've talked about. Large was super impressive all the way around. Just another talented, happening guy. You hate to chalk it up as, here comes another one. And it's just like you're almost numb to it now that, Coach Francisco has just another guy down there. But, I mean, really, it's what he is. I liked him on both sides of the ball. I watched his outing on the mound, I think from center field. And then I had his AB right here, and he just unloaded on that baseball. And then Gaines, like just a competitor, just comes at you, has a really good feel for spin, attacks the strike zone. I just kind of like the way he carries himself on the mound. I think it could be a huge plus for Highland this year. Some of those young arms coming in and making a contribution to go along with some of the older guys that they have there that are back and going to play a bigger role this year. Jordan, anything that stands out overall? You got, again, our top 4 or 5, so actually top 7, remain the same. You got Caperton, who played football this fall, who tinkered around a little bit, with some baseball. I think played some tournaments, and I think Beck played a little bit of football. Am I correct? At St. Chris this fall. You got some guys who were on the shelf a little bit, and so it was kind of, I don't want to say a tough fall for this 28 class, but it was really hit and miss in terms of the number of our evaluations that we were able to gather and gain out of this class. So there wasn't a ton of movement out of the top. What would you say overall about about this 28 class right now as it stacks up?
Yeah, like I think there are some guys here on the back end, if they have a really good winter, continue to get stronger, they have a chance to make a jump this spring if they have some in-game production, things like that. But like there's some athleticism there. Like, and one guy for me that I really want to get out and see this spring that impressed me this fall is Logan Carter from Riverbend. He's an athlete, can impact the baseball. I like how the offense has continued to get better and trend up. He's a guy that you could see kind of have a potential to pop off this spring. So he's one of those guys that just stands out to me that has a chance to make an impact this spring.
Now, I wanted to give a shout out to Coach Labruciano. Jordan and I talked about this a few weeks ago, and Coach Labruciano is just like that OG, like no nonsense guy, high school coach. Just again like an old school type coach. And I'm not like, I'm a little bit younger than Coach Labruciano, but I can appreciate where he comes from because I coached, pretty similarly, just like intensity and kind of, he has certain standards that need to be met. And it's a talented class at Riverbend. There's some younger guys, some 28s and some 29s. And he's had a lot of success there in the past few years with his teams. And I'll be honest with you, like, because we don't get it a ton. Coach Labruciano reached out a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Hey, like, I want to make sure my guys get in front of your staff this winter. What do y'all have? What do y'all have event-wise, locations, this, that, and the other?" And I appreciated that just because, like, I think Coach appreciates when we're able to come out and see his high school team and see his players and try to help his players in any way that we can. So shout out to Coach. He's always looking to, kind of take that next step or go above and beyond, for his players and for his program. So I appreciated that. I think, what would you say, Jordan, in comparison 28 to 29 class? What would you say, like, maybe something that jumps out?
I think for 28, it's just some of that arm talent at the top. Where like I think 29 class is a little more back heavy, a little more offensive heavy, where you do have some of those top arms there. But it's more depth in this 28 class with the arms at the top and a little bit more towards the middle. I think that's the big separator between the two. Like you got guys like Trent O'Malley, Matella can get on the mound, Caperton can get on the mound, Howard, Beck, Gaines, Capel, Guerin, Plummer, like Skeen, like those guys are at the top where there's a little bit more of those arms at the front end, and then you see some more guys kind of in the middle as well. But I think that's a really big separator between the two classes.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think that like all of these guys are going to end up as pitchers necessarily. Like you said, like I don't think Matella's first love. I think we've documented this well. I don't think his first love is pitching, but like he's got some arm talent and he does a good job on the mound. I just think he likes hitting baseballs hard and far way more,
Yes.
which who doesn't. But like you said, you have O'Malley and Matella, Caperton through at East Coast Super Sophomore. You're talking like, what was it, like 84, 86, 83, 85, somewhere in there.
Just compete.
And just competes. Yep. And I think that's the athlete in him, right? And you got Ty Howard, who, pitch wise,
like that upside, man.
I like the upside, but he may be like Gunning is as well. I would say him and Gunning like two like better pitchers in this group. But like you said, you got Howard, you got Beck. Beck's going to play. I would imagine he's going to play such a larger role at St. Chris this year with some of the losses that they had on the mound. And you got Gaines making the jump that he's made. I think I documented it in the story from today, and like the top 50 story or from Tuesday, is that he has made, and I think I can pull it up real quick. He has made like a 10-mile-an-hour jump. He was 81, 82, 83 in February last year. Yeah, second week of February. And, he ended the fall after all the innings that he's thrown throughout the year. He ended the fall at 85 to 87, touching 89. So you're talking about a massive jump. And if his recovery goes well and, he gets his legs back under him and all that stuff, I would not be surprised to come out and show up and see him sitting 87, 89, 86, 88. Then you go down the depth of arms. You go through all those guys that you talked about and you get down and you see Plummer like touching 90, 91. And it's just like super easy velo. Pitchability has some work. But the arm talent, the body, the physical makeup, like all of that stuff is there. Liam Skeen, like you talking about, again, competitor, just attacking demeanor. Got that lift fastball and got some secondary developing, like talented right-handed arm in deep Southwest Virginia. And the list goes on and on. I mean, you're Hudson Large, Drew Wade, Danny Sullivan. Tiernan Sanders has ability on the mound. Luke Torres gives you a little bit of probably like a little lighter Caperton on the mound to where just like athlete that pitches. But yeah, I love the arm depth in this class, and I think that's a great comparison is that this class is arm heavy, and then the 29 class is a little bit more athlete and a little bit more positional heavy. But there is some two-way, in this group as well. Beck, like you talk about watch a dude defend, him and Caperton, you watch those two cats defend. Yeah, those dudes can pick it. Guerin, Gunning, like it's some infielders in that group. All right. Let's see. We talked about key things that stand out. If you said sleeper, if we were talking about sleeper, now I'm going to force you to go somewhere here. Not an individual person, but I'm going to force you outside of. And I'm hitting you with this on the run. I'm forcing you outside of the top 20. I was going to say top 30, but I'll give you a reprieve. Outside of the top 20 here.
Outside of the top 20. No, we've kind of had these conversations offline. But here's a
You
guy.
can go two if you need to. You can go two if you need to.
My first one is I'm going to the beach. Brandon Hahn from Great Bridge. Oh,
I thought you were going a different beach. I thought you knew I was getting that one.
I'm gonna go Brandon Hahn from Great Bridge. I had a chance to see him quite a bit this past summer. Just the one thing that continued to check up is like he was hitting in game. Like he's a wiry athlete, is plenty of room to continue to add strength, but I really like his pace in the infield, and he would show some offensive production. So I think he's my sleeper, one of my sleepers for this class. Because you get that aggressive beach mentality. I can see that definitely playing in game at some point. Let me see. I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm going to go with Colt Monticello from Yorktown. I think there's some ability there, some tools, there's some athleticism, some flash of impact as well. Got to see him on the back end of the summer. I think there's some ability there where he can impact the game in different ways. So that's another sleeper for me as we get down to the spring season, maybe a chance to impact.
Yeah, and just for note, like we've documented a ton of these guys, right? Like Riser's story, new faces, top 50 release. What did we go to here? 100. So 51 to 100. Like we talked about players. So like we've done an ample amount of work trying to kind of, spread the love a little bit and talk about some different guys. The one that I really want to talk about, I've talked about before, so I don't want to go in depth. I'm gonna burn that one, but it's just gonna be a quick hit. Jordan already knows. One. All right, we're gonna go on 3, and we gotta both say the name. You ready? And see if we're right.
Okay.
All right. Actually, no. Here's what we're gonna do.
What are we gonna do?
I'm gonna write this down. I gotta find something to write it down on. All right. I'm writing it down. And I'm just going to write down the last name for time's sake. All right. You say the name, and then I'll raise up what I wrote.
All right. Are we counting down?
No, you go ahead. You're good.
I'm going to go Tucker Von Herbulis.
Oh, no. All right. So that's good. That's one I was going to go with.
Okay.
That's one I was going to talk about. But the one that I've talked about before, Liam Chow.
Yes.
So you said beach.
Yeah.
All right, so we weren't on the same page. So that was poor. That was poor podcasting there. All right, so I'll start with Chown. Talked about him before. Like it's going to be tough for you to find a kid with his physical size at 6'7" that moves the way he does on the mound. Like almost think like Brock Hall-ish on the mound. Chown isn't the runner that Brock is. He's still not a bad runner. I mean, low 7s for a 6'7" guy who's 16 years old. But I just love the way he moves on the mound. The swing plays as well. I just like 6'7" moves well. You saw him this fall. What was he? Mid-80s?
Yeah, a little mid-80s and just pitches. It's aggressive mindset on the mound.
And look, if you're at Ocean Lakes, Jordan, in order to get on that mound, what's the one thing you're gonna have to do? It's kind of like St. John's.
You got those strikes, baby.
You got to throw strikes and
got to compete.
Yep. And Coach Zell, like you're gonna have to do those things in order to pitch for Coach Zell. But like looking at this kid's, like I'm gonna share it just because it fires me up on the potential of this here. Let's see what we got here. I mean, like Like he's 6'7". Brutal.
Oh,
Take.
come on.
I got a tough crowd in here for throwing that one out. But just the way he moves, and that was very unintentional. I say that, and I don't think about the fact that we have dumb brain rot stuff that we have to avoid saying. But like just the way he moves for his size, I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. And then the next one that I'm going to is Tucker Von Herbulis. That was a great call. I just figured we were going to be on the same page on Chown. But I just love watching Von Herbulis play. It's just like a certain control and maturity at times to his game. And, I think I wrote about it a little bit. There's no like loud tools. Like he's not some elite runner. He doesn't have elite arm strength. It's not big power. Like it's none of that stuff, but it's a guy who he goes out on the mound. He's going to give you a chance to win. He's going to compete. He's going to throw strikes, right? It's what, a low 80s. It's a low 80s arm. He's right now, I would say he's probably like a below average runner, but he moves well at shortstop. He plays a little bit quicker in game than the foot speed would necessarily allude to. It's a contact bat. It's almost like he kind of knows who he is, and he just leans into that. Let's see here. Look at here. We're bringing up. I'm bringing in a new feature to podcasts here. Look at that. Like it's under control. Again, he's just like a long, rangy type of athlete. I like the way he moves. I like the way he handles himself on the field. He's got a chance to be pretty good. Again, that Swiss Army knife, it just does a little bit of everything. One that I'm excited to see this spring. Okay. I'm going to throw one out here at you. Tiernan Sanders.
Yeah.
Brentsville, 2028. We'll see them in our first pitch scrimmages. And I was going to go a different direction there, but I decided not to, Jordan. I got to stay in my lane. We'll see them in our scrimmages. I think they are February 28th. He jumped out first last year. I think Nolan saw him at St. Chris when they were at St. Chris playing. And then we saw him. We saw him again at like, I know who saw him. Jake saw him against who, like Maggie Walker in the playoffs or something like that. And
Iron Bridge.
At Iron Bridge, and he run like a ball or two out of the yard or something.
Yeah.
But that's a 2028 that I'm excited to see early on this spring. And hopefully earlier than that, hopefully in February at some point. But anybody for you, and I think we can talk a little bit more about the high school side of this because we know who played last year and kind of have a better idea of where they fit into their high school program. And it's not as much of a reach and putting a high school coach in a bad spot, even though sometimes it put us in a bad spot. But like what would you say? What would you say for your guy?
Yeah, for me, I saw him take some strides during the summer, but impacting the baseball. The offense had gotten better, but he was a football player in the fall, so we didn't get to see him. But Brody Beasley from Atlantic Shores, brother just graduated. He got some time in the infield as a freshman. I assume he'll stick in the infield, maybe slide over to shortstop for Atlantic Shores. But, he's a guy, that the offense was trending in the right direction this summer, impacted baseball. He's gotten stronger. He can absolutely defend in the infield. So him, stepping up, maybe being that next guy, being more of an offense producer in the top of the order, middle of the order, whatever for Atlantic Shores. He's a guy that I'm excited to get out to see early this spring to see the next step that he takes for Atlantic Shores this spring.
Absolutely. Jordan showing the beach some crazy love. Crazy love. Everybody kind of knows, again, well documented that we like going and seeing some beach baseball. It's at what a lot of the games, the beach district games, 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock. Love them.
4 o'clock beach district games with a bunch of like aggressive hitters and usually quick pace games. Sign me up.
Yeah, just take over. I'm gonna take over Mike's territory this spring.
No doubt you'll have to. Mike bull jiving. Mike thinks a college class is more important than going out and seeing high school baseball. That's crazy. But Jordan, anything to add before we kind of cap this off right here? Again, just recapping the 2028 rankings. I'll scroll the top 10, or actually it is scrolling down here at the bottom. Anything to add before we jump out of here?
Yeah, like excited about this class. See the strides the guys made. Definitely, come to winter events, high school season, whatever. Excited to see out these guys, see how they progressed.
Yeah, and again, like if people have questions like, hey, which event should I fit in, or which event do I fit in best? Like, I'll be the first person to tell you, I think a freshman should come to a freshman event. We've talked about that. Just my opinion. Our Nova event at Complete Game right now is looking pretty strong. Some of the best players in the class, in the 2028 class specifically, are coming to that event. You got guys like James Bacher and Davin Crane and Ryan Gaines, Jack Guerin, Cole Plummer, Luke Torres, Grant Williams, Bennett Winklefuss. Like it's an early start, but it looks really good. So excited for that one as well as the other ones. I mean, Richmond is filling up. We're over 20 players registered in Richmond. So we're 3 weeks in and we're about 25% full. So we'll probably cap that one somewhere around between 80 and 100, 85, 100. So make sure you get your invites in. Make sure ID events. Those are really good kind of opener events. If you're like, hey, I just kind of want to dip my toes into it a little bit and not go all in with some of the talent that's at the all-state events. Those events are really good. Make sure to get registered for them. Those are open registrations. But other than that, we'll be back next week with 2026 rankings and 2027 the week following. And we look forward to seeing everybody the next time on High and Tight, as well as potentially this week at the VBCA.